Commercial DNA tests are a massive industry, promising to unlock your past with a simple swab. They are incredibly good at one thing: reading your DNA with high accuracy. The faults don't lie in the reading, but in the interpretation. Specifically, how a tiny fraction of your genetic code is compared to a reference database to assign you to a place or a people. The company doesn't actually trace your DNA back to a historical Viking or Celtic tribe. Instead, it compares your DNA to a reference panel, a database of DNA samples from living people who report having long family histories in a specific geographic area. This is the biggest flaw. These commercial databases are not globally representative. They are heavily skewed toward populations in Europe and North America, primarily because those are the regions where the majority of paying customers reside. If a company has few samples from, say, indigenous South Americans or certain groups in East Asia, your results from those regions will be based on very few points of comparison. This leads to vague, speculative, or often incorrect ethnicity assignments for people with non-European ancestry. Your results are only as good as the samples they can compare you to. Ethnicity is not biological identity. Your DNA doesn't come with flags. Ethnicity and race are complex social, cultural, and linguistic concepts, but commercial tests can only report genetic ancestry, where your ancestors likely lived thousands of years ago. Shifting borders, modern political and cultural borders are recent. People have always migrated. A DNA segment identified as German today may have been French or Polish 300 years ago due to wars, trade, or migrations. The assignment is based on current populations, not static historical ones. Most ancestry tests look only at a tiny fraction of your genome, focusing on markers that vary between human populations. They use probability to make an estimate, not a definitive cut-and-dry answer. This is why if you send your DNA to two different companies, you might get results that are surprisingly inconsistent. One says 10% Italian, the other says 5% Greek. They are using different databases and different mathematical algorithms. For finding immediate relatives, parents, siblings, first cousins, DNA testing is incredibly accurate and reliable. You share large, unmistakable segments of DNA with them. The reliability dramatically decreases the further out you go. By the time you get to fourth, fifth, or sixth cousins, the amount of shared DNA can be so small that it's possible to share no detectable DNA with a biologically related person.